Shalom, family. Shalom. All praises to the Most High God of Israel, our King, our Savior, our Redeemer. Um, this is the third installment of The Truth of the Beast. If you saw the second one, then you know where it ended at is I had got back home with my brother, and the things that I experienced was, with her, the Spirit spoke to me and answered her question. Um, then I experienced her freaking out about the blue light around my head. And then after that, I saw the brothers in the clouds. And at that time, the bird had spoke to me. Shortly after my brother had left, the bird, like I tell you, the bird spoke. Family, there's a lot going on. There's a lot. But we're just going to get back into it. All right. Like I say, after that, then I was there at the house. I was got everything back straight. And like I said, I had this impression inside of my tent of what if anybody that saw, which my family, whenever they destroyed my tent and stuff and burned all my books and stuff, I don't know if they destroyed my phone or not, but I had another phone, a Galaxy phone, that had all these pictures in it of these events and stuff and the things that I had experienced. Several recordings and stuff. I had several videos and stuff where I was doing telekinesis and stuff like that. And they just destroyed all my stuff. And but it just saddens me, family, to have to deal with what our people so readily reject. Okay, so we're just gonna move on with it. All right, so my brother left, and he only spent like maybe 2 days there, and he left. He just couldn't deal with it. I forgave him for what I experienced growing up as a child. Um, I don't hold a grudge for the things that I've experienced. It does affect me still to this day in certain ways, in certain instances and stuff. But I don't allow it to hold on to me. I see it, and it's like a reminder of a direct wickedness in this world. It's like a reminder like that. Like I said, I dealt with the spirit at an early age. And we have to we really have to really examine what we're dealing with when we're dealing with God, and we've been so far away from Him, and in our minds and in our heart, so far away from when you say heart, you're speaking of the mind, because a lot of people be like, "Oh, I love God. He know I love Him. I love Him with all my heart." No, you don't, because you don't know Him. You know Christ crucified. You know Yahweh Shai crucified, but you don't know God. There's a way to get to know Him. And He teaches you that in the book. He tells you over and over and over again, meditate, think upon me. Everything about you should be focusing in toward God. Everything. And whenever you get in a true state of meditation, you're going to focus everything about you toward God. Everything. All your strength, all your body, mind, soul, everything is going to be focused toward God. So, like I say, I'm back at the house now, and this impression was inside of my tent and stuff. I was really taking notice and really examining everything around me. At this point, I was really getting in depth with examining what's going on. So, I spent the week just meditating, tending to my gardens. really just trying to balance out what I've experienced and get some clarity, some overstanding in it from all of the events and stuff that I've experienced. But there is one other time though I did return uh, to the house that I did stay in the other town with her, and she talked me into spending another week with her. About a week, the next week after that, she came and so so I spent another week with her, and it wasn't long lasted. It was not long lasted at all. I remember on the day that I left again, and that was the third time that I left. Um, that day in particular was a pretty wild ass day because I had been out doing work with this road crew on this one of those bridges, and I've been taking pictures of all the alligators and stuff like that. And I got back to the house and I was pretty tired. Been out there in that heat and walking around concrete and pulling mud and digging out this and digging out that and steadily keeping an eye on all the goddamn alligators every damn where. Um, and so I was pretty tired. So I came in and it was still light. It wasn't dark and then it was still light. And we were sitting. I'd taken a shower and washed up, and relaxed, and everything. And cause it was pretty early when we went out, so it was like maybe 4 or something whenever I got back into the house, and um she was like, she wanted to go and go out and do some eating and stuff, but at this time she was sitting in the bed and she was reading a book, and I was talking to her and stuff, and I climbed in the bed beside her and I told her, I said, well, I'm just gonna catch, an hour, a couple hours of a nap, and then, in a couple of hours just wake me up. And she was reading the book and she was like, okay, but she never did move, she was just, in the book. And so I lay down and as I was lying there, I wasn't asleep. I wasn't asleep at all. I don't even think that I was actually in my body when I laid down. I think I actually stood up out of my body because I was looking at my body laying there in the bed, and she was sitting in the bed reading a book, but she never turned the page. She stayed at the same page. The page never moved. And I'm standing there looking at this, and then all of a sudden I hear this like something crawling on the wall. You know how you hear something, the nails or something latching onto something, climbing up wood or something. And I'm standing there, and as I looked up, I saw this hand come around the wall, but it was clear. It was clear. I could see that I could see the nails, the whole contour of the hand and everything, but it was completely transparent. I mean, I could see through it. I could see the wall through it, but it was another color to where you could definitely tell that there was something on the wall. And so as I'm standing there looking at it, I see this thing. I don't know what it was, but it was it put you in the mind of the predator, but it didn't look like the predator. It was skinny. It was skinny. It put you in the mind of what you would see if it was looking in color. You would have said it was a demon, but the outline of it gave me the impression that I was dealing with a demon. It was all clear, like it had on one of those suits like the predator has, but this was a little bitty creature, but not real little, but not as big as the predator, bulked up. But this was a skinny creature, but it had on this complete cloaked out suit, and it was crawling across the wall. And I'm looking, and by that time I was back in my body, and I could still see, but my eyes were closed, but I could see as if they were open, and I could see her, and she never moved, never moved. So I'm there in the bed, and I'm trying to get my body to get up. I'm trying to get my body to get up, to move. and there's this level of fear that just comes over me. I mean, it's like I felt it was like a very strong tingle sensation that started, and it just run down my whole body, and it was like it was trying to lock my body back down into the bed, and I'm struggling, trying to get loose from this, and at this time I was still, like I said, at this time I was still unsure, really unsure if I was actually dealing with God or if I was still juggling a demon in between, because I knew I was looking at a demon on the wall, and I knew that she was sitting beside me in the bed and she did not freaking move, like she was just frozen. And so I was lying there, and I called on the name Jesus, and it disappeared. It just completely disappeared that fast. And then she became animate again, and she was, "Oh, what's wrong?" Blah blah blah. And I'm sitting there looking at this, and I'm absorbing this, trying to figure out what's going on. And I'm like, I got to get the hell away from here. I got to get the hell away from here. So I ended up going back home and stuff. I got a few more things in mind, but it wasn't that moment that I went back home. Later on that night, is when I experienced the paranormal shit. All right, I didn't put it together that what was on the wall was actually what was in the body that was sitting beside me, and until later that I put it all together that was actually her on that wall. Um, so that night came, and I was laying, and like I told you, that she'd do this thing where she'd wake up, but she wouldn't be awake. She'd be walking with a cigarette and stuff. She'd lay back down, and the cigarette still burning. Everything in the house damn near burned up many times, uh, because of this. And this that night in particular, I was still really, really, really bothered by that, by whatever the hell it was on the wall. While she didn't move, and I could see her when I got back in, and like I tell you, I could see her, but she was frozen. She was frozen, like there was nothing in it. There was nothing in the vessel beside me. It was just empty. And the minute I said that name, because I still believed that was the prophet's name, and it vanished. Okay, then boom, she was back animate again, and so I was just up. I went and washed my face and stuff, and was just shaking. I've always been by this, and well, that night came, and I was laying in bed, and she was laying in bed, but I wasn't asleep. I was just lying there, just looking and just listening, because I didn't know what else to do. I couldn't go to sleep. I've been dealing with so much and been seeing so much that half the damn time I didn't know if I was awake or if I was asleep. I didn't know if I was in this world or the next world. Most of the time, I would have to touch things over and over and over again to make sure that I was in this dimension, because it started lapsing. I was in and out so much that it started lapsing, and it was very hard for me to see, to recognize the what we call reality. And reality in itself is an illusion, but that's another story. Um, so I'm laying there, and all of a sudden she sat straight up in the bed, just like you see it those paranormal movies, how the girl just sat straight up. She just sat straight up in the bed like this, and right across from us, there was a dresser, chest of drawers, and on top of it there was this little like little Japanese hutch that I had. It had all these different little doors and stuff in. Well, inside this little hutch, I had all my pistols and stuff, my guns and stuff in that. Just right there, easy access if anything went down. So I'm laying there in the bed, and she just sets up on the side of the bed, and then she stands up, and she walked straight forward, and she just opened the little hutch door to the where the guns are, and she just stood there. Just stood there, and I'm laying in the bed, and I'm watching this. I'm like, and I'm saying to myself, if she reach in that damn hutch, I'm fixing to tackle her ass, and it's gonna be on and popping, because I'm watching this. Okay, I am watching this, and I'm seeing that, and she stood there for like maybe 15 minutes, and then she turns, and right beside the bed is a little nightstand, and she had her smokes right there, and so she picked up one and she lit it and she just turned. But everything that she was doing, there was no real movement of life. It was more like just a reaction. It was like just a reaction. She just spent, boom, lit the cigarette and turned and walked off. And I eased up out the bed and I closed the doors on the hutch and I climbed back in the bed. And she went to the bathroom and stumbled around. Then she went in the kitchen and she was doing her sleep eating. She was doing sleep smoking and sleep eating at the same time. So I'm laying there in bed again, and I'm pretending like I'm asleep. And she comes back through, and she comes back through, and she's standing at the bed, but she's not facing the bed. She's standing with her back toward the bed, and she's just standing there, and the cigarette's still in her mouth, and you can see her chewing at the same time. And I'm laying there looking at this, and then the next thing, she just lay back down in the bed, and she still got the cigarette in her mouth, just lay back, and she's instantly asleep just like that. So I take it out. I get it out, and then I get up out of bed because now my mind is reeling. I get all my guns and shit out of the cabinet and stuff, and I put them in my bag and stuff, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? This is too much. I mean, this thing that I saw on the wall, then this and all of this. So, well, that next day, I ended up going back home the next day and stuff, and so everything was pretty cool, and I was there, and I was just still reeling about everything that had happened and what I've experienced. And the following week was a week unlike I had ever experienced. I mean, I got back to my tent. The impression that was inside of my tent was still there. It was still there. And it was Wednesday. It was a Wednesday night. And this is when the serpent come out of the ground. It was Wednesday night in the morning. That Thursday morning, I would say between 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning, I woke up. And I was asleep. I was in my tent in the backyard. And I woke up and there was this high-pitched ringing in my ear. I'm talking about extremely high-pitched ringing in my ears. And I could hear all of this. It was like something being electrocuted. You hear zzz, and I look and I unzip the part of my tent where I could see out. I could see all this electricity running up and down the trees. Running up and down the trees like this. And these are the trees that's over behind my shed back at home. And I'm seeing this and I'm like, what the hell is going on now? And all I can see is just lit up all this bright blue, and you can hear this crackling, and you can smell this electricity in the air, and all this is going on. And then this other level of dread just come over me, and I just zipped up the side of my tent, and I grabbed my Bible, and I started praying. And I knew that something was coming out of the ground because I could feel the ground vibrating. I could feel it vibrating, and at the same time that all this was going on, I could hear the hound dog that my brother had brought to the house. I could hear this hound dog laying over next to me up under the edge of the house snoring. This dog he snored, and this dog never stopped snoring the whole time all this was going on. I'm praying, Lord, Father, help me, Father. And I didn't have any of my guns or my knives outside. Everything was inside, and I was just outside of my tent, and I was just praying, Father. I don't have any weapons out here. I know what's coming out of this ground. I'm not ready to deal with this. My mind is still too scatterbrained to have to deal with this. Please, Father, don't make me have to face this thing right now. Please don't make me have to face it. And I had dealt with it on several other levels. This thing I've had conversations with this thing several times, so I knew what it was. But this is the first time I've ever experienced it coming out of one of these portals. And I'm praying. And all this electricity and stuff has got the whole sky lit up blue back there, and all these limbs of electricity running up and down these trees out there like this, just back and forth, up and down, and you can just feel this energy in the air. And then all of a sudden it stops, and I'm still praying. I'm like, Father, I know this thing is loose. I know this thing is here, and I know this thing is coming to put hands on me, and I am in no way, shape, form, or fashion. I know that I'm not ready. I know that I'm not ready to have to deal with what's going on. And I'm praying. Then all of a sudden, I could hear something running, coming, something running, coming, and it had to sound like his feet was hitting the ground so hard that they were vibrating. I could tell when each foot hit the ground, and because of the tremors that was coming from it, I could feel it. And so I unzipped the side of my tent a little bit where I could see out, and I saw what looked like an electric dog. Big, big electric dog. Looked like it was like it was just glowing. And this dog tore into this thing. I mean, he tore into this thing like he was like he went to war out there amongst the trees with this thing, and you could hear the trees and shit being broken over, and you hear this thing scream, and that dog was on his ass, and you could see this big glowing dog just, he was like super fast. I mean, he would be on this side, be over here, and what it was is this thing couldn't get back into the portal that it came from, and there was so much hell and carnage going on that the dog whooped his ass all the way back out to the Leighton pasture, which is about, it's 300-400 yards from where we are before it runs back into this grove of trees. And I knew that there was a portal there. I knew there was a portal there in that thicket of trees. And this dog, when I tell you the Most High amped him up and turned loose his spirit in, that dog whooped his ass. I'm talking about whooped his ass all the way across from where I was at, whooped his ass clear out into the monks of them trees out and back into that other portal. He couldn't get back in the one he came out of. He couldn't get back into that because this dog was on his ass like lightning. He looked like a lightning bolt. He'd fly by and hit him. Every time he hit him, you'd hear this son bitch scream and he'd go rolling and shit. And then the dog would be back on him and be mauling his fucking ass. And then next thing you know, he'd break and he'd run and he was tearing trees up. This motherfucker was tearing. This is not a little bitty being. When I tell you this dog was humongous when he come down through that, the dog was humongous and he was tearing his ass apart. So the whole time I'm steadily praying, and I didn't stop praying until the light, until full dawn, full daylight was back on. I did not cease praying until I could fully see everything around me. And so I figured everybody, there's like 5 houses in this area. And I know that out of the 5 houses, that 3 of those houses had occupants in it. And nobody heard anything. Nobody. Nobody other than me. And this dog whooped the holy hell out of this goddamn thing. I'm not bullshitting you, family. I tell you, this your God is oh my goodness, and they don't even get it. Yeah, my people don't even get it. Y'all do not even get what your God is about and what He has made. He has made things that are beyond your imagination, beyond your comprehension, beyond it. And He can do things beyond your imagination, beyond your comprehension, beyond your overstanding or your understanding. So I'm reeling from all of this, and I'm like, what the hell, you know? And I'm walking down through the path that they tore out amongst the goddamn trees and shit, fighting and stuff out through there, and everybody's like, what the hell happened? You know, the neighbors and stuff, like, what the hell happened? This tree scattered every goddamn where, you know, blah 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 blah. What the hell is going on? And I'm walking, looking at this, and I done did the whole survey back out to the edge of the thicket where he ran back off into, and went through the other portal. And I'm standing there looking at this, and I come back to the house, and I'm standing on the other side of the land, up on the other side where it overlooks all of the tree thickets and stuff and different things like that. And I'm just standing there, and all of a sudden I feel a presence beside me, and I look down, and it's my cousin's dog. The same dog that I told you I was blessed by the Most High. That dog come down through there, and he was a monster on this goddamn thing's ass. He whooped his fucking ass. And I just pet him, and he just looked up at me, and he was always with me, no matter where I went after that. He was always there with me. He even watched that goddamn hound dog, because I don't think that hound dog was a real dog either. I don't think he was a real dog either, because I'd be out doing stuff in the yard, and in the garden and stuff like that, and I'd feel somebody watching me or something watching me, and look around, and it'd be that goddamn hound dog. He'd be sitting in amongst the bushes and shit, and he'd just be sitting there watching me. Just sitting there watching me. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this goddamn? Get your ass on and quit watching me like that. And my cousin's dog would come down through there. The one that was amped up, he would come down through there, and the hound dog would cut out. He would cut out every time. He would cut out. He wouldn't have nothing to do with him. But so I was giving praise to the Most High all that day and stuff. But it showed you, it left an indention to where he opened up the things. I mean, I didn't even explain to him about what actually happened, because nobody would believe it. So I didn't even explain to it. Even now, nobody's probably believing this. I'm not expecting you to believe it. I'm just telling you this because this is the truth. This is absolutely the truth. I'm not going to tell you something that I haven't experienced. I'm not going to tell you something that I haven't witnessed of a spiritual act. I'm telling you this because this is spiritual acts, and I don't know. This is some of the most powerful things I have ever never known. All right, so I'm going through survey and everything, and right behind my shed where this little grove of trees that was all lit up, where the trees were pushed back in a perfect circle, and the whole ground had been opened inside out. It was all fresh ground. There was no grass up there like it was before. There were no thorns, no nothing. It was like this is the ground, and it just opened up like this, and then the thing came out and it just closed back up. I knew they were there. I've been knowing that they were there for the longest, and that's a whole nother story. But I'll explain that on another tale. But so it left a circle, and you can find them, and I've seen them throughout the town in different places. And I've never said anything to anybody, but I've seen them in different locations and stuff throughout the town when I would walk. So after that, I'm like, so this is showing me an impression point where these bastards done come up. So I started walking through the town and going in different places and stuff. There was pretty much a little secluded little patch of trees over here, a little secluded patch over here, different places and stuff. And as I was doing such, I found the exact same setups. I found the exact things where the ground had been opened back, the trees had been pushed back to a perfect circle, and the ground had been flipped. I mean, everywhere else you see leaves and stuff scattered, you see leaves and grass and stuff, but in these particular areas you would find a grove of trees that had been pushed back to a circle, maybe 5-6 foot round circle, that there was no grass nor leaves nor nothing on. Nothing. Everything else was just like it would be naturally growing of its own. And so I found several little locations throughout the town where these things have been popping up, coming up overnight and during the night and stuff, doing things. And so I was still reeling about what the bird had said. The bird had told me to leave this place, and I was like, maybe that's why he was telling me to leave this place, is because she'd been reporting back and forth with what's going on and stuff like that. So I got my guns and my knife, my sword and stuff, and I got that with me in my tent, and I was trying to figure out where in the hell am I gonna go? What the fuck am I gonna do? I couldn't go back to where she was at. I couldn't go to where my family was at because they're all silly in the mind, and they think that I'm off my rocker. So I stayed there in the backyard for another 2 weeks. That same week that the thing come out of the ground, that weekend, that Friday evening, she showed up. I even shot. Wait. But before that, the same day that happened, my cousin showed up, and I showed it to him, and I explained to him what was going on. And most of the time, whenever I explain stuff to my family, I always explain it to the guys. I don't ever deal with the women because they're gonna come up with some more bullshit to say. at least the brothers would just look at me with a blank face and not know what to say. And so I was showing my cousin and telling him about it, and he looked at me and he said, "Are you sure? Are you really sure about what you say?" And I said, "I wouldn't tell you if I wasn't sure about what I've witnessed and what I've seen." And as I'm telling you right now, I'm telling you the absolute truth, family, of everything that I have witnessed and seen. That our God is real. He exists. And you're finna find out about that. So later on that week, the weekend came, and Friday rolled in, and I'm there at the house and stuff, and I'm getting my little bonfire and stuff set for the weekend for the Friday, because normally I would set up late Friday evenings and look at the stars, because I have such a beautiful view of the sky and back at home. And you can see the Milky Way. I mean, you can see all of these different, just humongous trails and midst of stars. And the whole time I'd be sitting there watching. I mean, I'd watch the chariots and stuff come through. The chariots would let me know that they're watching and that they see me. Even today, they still do the same thing. They no matter where I go, I can always know that they're there. I can feel them. Even right now, I can feel them. But so that weekend, that Friday evening came, and I'm sitting there, and it's about almost 8 o'clock, and I'm sitting back chilling around my little campfire, and just really just in a no thought state, and all of a sudden these lights pull up, and this little car pull up, and it's her, it's her. And the crazy shit is, I had a vision while I was sitting there at that campfire. A fiery serpent come out of the campfire at me. I damn near jumped over the house when it did it. And I thought that most of these would happen, when I was in different states and stuff. I never had one appear to me being completely 100% conscious and just sitting there active, and then it just scared the shit out of me and jumped out of the fire. And then a few minutes later, she drove up. So we sat there laughing and talking, and she hung out with me, and she spent the night. I fixed her a little pallet in the tent with me and stuff, and so we sat around the bonfire, and she had a few drinks and stuff with us. So we drank a little bit, and laughing and talking and whatnot. And it just I really just examining everything, because at this point in time, I still believe that there were people. I just knew that he just didn't want us together. I didn't know, other than us being two different species. That was the only thing I knew. But that not species, but two different people. I thought that we were two different people. So she stayed, and we was hanging out and stuff. And the next morning, we were just hanging out and stuff. My cousins and stuff, they came through. This was Saturday. So she stayed, and we cooked out on the grill and stuff, and she hung out with me in the gardens and stuff, and she, just had a good time, just pretty much just trying to take my mind off of everything that I've been experiencing, not really trying to fall back into this world, but wanted to try and take it to a point to where I wasn't so just outweighed with it. And so my cousins and stuff come, and they're like, I didn't expect to see you here. And she was, blah, 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 just carrying on the conversation with them and whatnot. So, well, that Saturday night, she stayed that Saturday night with me. But that morning was not what to do. That morning, when day broke, she was asleep next to me, and there was a presence. There was a presence in that tent, and that presence was humongous, and that presence was angry. That presence that I was dealing with that was in that tent was an angel. and he was pissed. You hear me? I was terrified. I'm talking about more terrified of the presence of something that I couldn't see versus something that I did see. I don't know how you can really understand it, but I mean I was asleep and all of a sudden, bing! I'm wide awake and I'm grabbing her shit, and she like, what's going on? Like, get in the car, get in the car, get in the car. He's here. Something is here. Something. And I knew something was there the whole time that I was moving this girl to get her to this damn car. The whole time I was moving, that it was right there with me. It was like, it was so big that there was no way to there was no way for me to get away from it. I mean, I was moving her and I pushed in the car and it was all over me. It was on top of me the whole time and I could just feel it breathing down its neck on me. And the whole time I was getting the impression I will fucking kill you. I said, don't. This is the whole impression that I was getting the whole time that I snatched this broad up and I put her in that car and I told her, you got to get the hell, I'm up here. You got to get the hell away from me. There's something here. And she burned out. She burned out. And the whole time, for the next hour, no matter where I moved, this presence of this angel was there with me. And this angel was letting me know that the Most High sent me and I will fucking kill you. Do you hear me, family? When I tell you, you do not want to be in the presence of one of these angels that's coming to put your ass to death. You ain't going to get away from him. You're not going to get away from him. You cannot get away from him. But he was on my ass. I'm telling you, on my ass. And all I could do was pray. All I could do was pray. I just fell to my knees and I prayed and I cried to my God. Please, Father, don't. Please, Father, don't. Please, I overstand. I overstand. I overstand. I overstand. I overstand. I overstand. Please don't. And it was at least an hour and a half before that presence left me, before I was even stable enough. I was so goddamn nervous in the daylight. You don't know fear. I'm not afraid of the dark. I'm not afraid of the dark. That's the thing that you gotta understand. I'm not afraid of the dark. Because it's not what's in the dark you should be afraid of. It's what's in the fucking light. And he is in the light. He is in the dark. He commands what's in the dark, and he commands what's in the light. And when I tell you that angel was on my ass, that angel was on my ass about her. And he did not bullshit, because he made it plain and clear to me. I mean, I'm telling you, family, I could sense everything that he was thinking. I could hear it. This angel made it plain and clear that if he send me back, I would tear your ass to pieces. And this was no little bitty angel. No little bitty angel. I'm talking about if I was standing in front of him, his size of his arms, his chest or something would still be this far away from me on either side. This was no little bitty being. He made it plain and clear that your God does not play and he will put your ass to death about these things. So yet I'm still in a conundrum, don't know what to do, where to go. And I'm sitting there, I'm just out of my gourd with everything that I've experienced. And so it ended everything for me. I mean, even right now, I don't have a drive to want a companion. I don't have a drive for anything other than my God, other than being accepted by him and not having a death dealer angel sent to destroy me. I'm so nervous, you have no idea how I'm worse than a three-tailed cat in a room full of long rocking chairs. Every day I'm walking on pins and needles. Every day I'm walking on eggshells because I know my God. Every day I hold my head in shame when I see my sisters walk by me and they got their ass hanging out every goddamn thing they got on. Every day I hold my head in shame because of my brothers that don't listen. Even the brothers that I left in these camps, I try to tell them all. I even try to teach them all about meditation, how to do this. They scoffed at me. They belittled me. They bear false witness against me. They cast their judgments against me, just as my family does. So then, following that incident, my uncle, he shows up late on that evening, and this is my uncle that's married into my aunt, and which is deceased, and he was like, nephew, I'm up here at the house, I want to see if you come and have a little drink with me, just sit around under the stars. So I went, and that was the worst thing I ever did, because I should have stayed away from his ass, but at the same time, I understand that the Most High was doing things to get me the hell away from there, so that He could work on my mind and my being a lot better, and put me in a better position to understand what we're dealing with, and how to relate it to our people. So, long story short, he and his brother get up there, and we all sitting around. And his brother, they become jackasses when they get to drinking, because they're drinking in all these damn spirits. And I'm sitting there looking, and next thing I know it is his brother's talking shit to me, and next thing I know I'm talking shit to him, and we into a brawl up there. And next thing I know, I got one jumping on me with a knife, and I get cut, and another one coming at me with a pole, and so I take the pole from the other and bash him in the goddamn skull with it. And the whole time I done got cut across all through here and shit. And they jump in the car and burn off. And so in the mix of the struggle, he dropped his phone and shit. And I knew where they were going. They were going right to his mama's house. So I called his mama, and I told her what had happened. And she was begging me not to hurt him, not to do anything to him. And I told her, I said, I'm not going to do anything to him, but he will stand and look at what he's done to me, and he's going to apologize to it. And which I should have just, just let it go. But so that next morning I confronted him, but I didn't confront him with more than what he confronted me with. He attacked me with a knife, and I showed up to him with my sword, because I don't deal with a little bit of knife. I'm gonna have a sword. So I stood before him, and I showed him what he had done to me. And I asked him, I said, do you think I could do the same with you? Because my God believes in eye for an eye, tooth for tooth, foot for foot, hand for hand, life for life. I'm very serious about this. And so the whole time I'm talking to him about what he's done to me, his cowardly ass brother has called the cops on me. And the next thing I know, I got 445s and a shotgun pointing at my face. And these drunk bastards are rolling off in the wind, and I'm going to jail. It was at that time that my family burned all my books and burned my tent and every damn thing else. And but you know what's so crazy about it though? Is anytime I've dealt with these old crooked ass cops, they ain't never come and took my guns. They always take my swords. Because I'm not one of those types where if I got a problem with somebody, I'm gonna meet you. I got my gun. No. I'm a warrior. I know that. You're going to meet me face to face, man to man, mano a mano. If you got a sword, we're going to deal with a sword. If you got a stick, we're going to deal with a stick. You got broken glass, we're going to deal with broken glass. You got a bottle, we're going to deal with a bottle. But a gun, I don't give a shit about no damn gun. Gun is a coward. That's what cowards use. It's the tools of scary people. But they took my sword. And I told him straight out, I said, I ain't cut that man. I ain't cut his goddamn head off. I could have left a pile of nigger laying up there easily. Easily. I worked in the meat market for 3.5 years. You tell me I don't know how to dismember a motherfucker? Shit. That sword is an extension. I worked with that sword daily. So I ended up going to jail. And he did that for a reason. He got me away from her. And he got me off that land. And I was locked up. I think I spent maybe my own wicked ass family, man. They wouldn't even come get me out. These bastards done burned up all my shit, and then done fucking filled out all these little restraining orders and shit on me. On me! Because I stood up for myself against these two son of bitches on my land belittling me. But I'm banished from my own damn land. May the curses of the Most High tear their asses apart. Because he gonna do it. This is where wickedness comes in. So I sat there for about 2-3 months, and then I woke up in the tank and I had that same vision of a serpent coming across the floor of that tank to me. Who come and got me out of jail? That little demon. And on the next tale, family, you're gonna learn about speaking to your God. You're gonna learn how he removed the veil. Because I knew what she was. I knew what all this was about. I knew why she showed back up and everything. But my own family, they turned their backs on me because I only spoke about God. I refused to deal with that bullshit Jesus. Refused to. Oh, he crazy. He crazy. He talks against Jesus. You goddamn right. I talk against that goddamn slave ship. It's tough when you've dealt with so much spirit in this physical world. I'm speaking the truth to you, family. I'm not going to speak to you no lie. The angels are real. God is real. And your Jesus is fucking fake. Period. On the next installment, family, you're going to find out that's when it really starts getting in depth and showing you the exact overall treachery of these beings. What I've given to you today has been the experiences that my God has shown me to deliver me from the stupidity of this world. That's why I tell you that we should be praying, making supplication. We should be repenting daily. Every moment, every hour that you can repent, family. And on that note, family, I'll say, come back to your God, the Lord God of Israel, your King, your Redeemer, your Creator. There is no one else. Besides him, there is no Savior. Shalom, family.